Welcome back to our channel, Stoicism. Tell me, let's go to the point without wasting the time. Are you looking for a way to feel more in charge of your life? Sometimes life can feel like it's pulling us in all directions, making us feel lost or out of control. But what if I told you there's an ancient way of thinking that could help you take back control and find peace in the chaos? Welcome to Stoicism, a way of looking at life that's all about being wise, brave and disciplined. It's not just a bunch of ideas, it's a practice-I-cal approach to dealing with life's ups and downs, helping you to live more intentionally and in control. In this guide, we're going to explore the main ideas behind Stoicism and show you how to apply them to today's challenges. You'll learn how to manage your thoughts, feelings and actions to match what's really important to you. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can change and let go of what we can't. Finding peace in both action and acceptance, we'll keep coming back to some key ideas of Stoicism, and there's a good reason for that. By hearing and practicing these ideas over and over, they start to become a part of how we live every day. This repeating is key to really making Stoicism work in your life, turning it from just a set of ideas into a new way to live. Whether you're dealing with tough times, looking for more meaning in life, or just want to feel more calm and collected, this guide has something for you. By the end of it, you won't just know about Stoicism. You'll have real steps you can take to make your life feel more under your control, facing whatever comes your way with confidence and calm. The great Marcus Aurelius is a great example of the ancient philosophy of Stoicism in today's busy world, where outside noise can drown out our inner voice. Stoicism can help us find focus and purpose. Stoicism teaches us an important lesson that focusing on ourselves can change our lives. We're going to dive deep into the deep ideas of Stoicism in our next study, figuring out how they fit into the fabric of our everyday lives. Imagine finding wisdom that has been passed down from generation to generation and is still useful today in the busy streets of New York City, as it was in the Roman courts of ancient times. As we go on this trip together, you'll not only understand what Stoicism means by self-focus, but you'll also feel like you have the power to apply these timeless lessons to your everyday life. This is about growing as a person and developing a resilience that can withstand the storms of life, not just knowing them come with us as we start this life-changing trip here on the trip of wisdom to find the unwavering strength that comes from within. Let's rediscover ourselves. This is an idea that has deep roots in Stoic philosophy. In the Stoic tradition, there are three main principles that lead us. Wisdom goes beyond knowledge. It's the deep understanding of what we can control and what we can't. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, said, "It's best you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The second virtue is courage, which is more than just being physically brave. It includes the bravery. We need to face problems, the unknown, and even our own flaws. In the middle of life's problems and difficulties, it's about staying strong in his deep wisdom. Marcus Aurelius says, "The impediment to action advances is action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Temperance is the third virtue. It means learning to control yourself, live in moderation and be in tune with nature. It means controlling our wants and staying away from too much. Marcus Aurelius told us that temperance is important for happiness. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. This virtue teaches us the value of balance and the power of a moderated lifestyle to bring about inner peace and joy. Seneca added to these timeless lessons by saying, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This quote speaks to the modern man who is often caught up in fears that don't exist and social standards. These Stoic ideals help us stay focused on our inner selves instead of stressing out about things going on around us. In our busy world, encourage us to see problems as chances to learn and grow, to look for wisdom in our experiences, and to live a balanced and moderate life. By putting these ideas into practice, we can stay true to our Stoic that path and deal with the challenges of modern life with a calm mind and a strong spirit in the world of Stoicism. Living in the present moment is the most important thing you can do. People who follow the Stoics' philosophy say that we should accept life as it is and not try to change it or judge it. This philosophy doesn't mean giving up and letting things happen. Instead, it's a call to see things as they really are and act from that place of awareness. When you wake up in the morning, think of what a valuable gift it is to be living, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. As Marcus Aurelius, a wise man in this school of thought, put it, one of the most important ideas in Stoicism is that we can control how we respond to things that happen around us, but not how they happen themselves, in spite of life's unavoidable ups and downs. This understanding is essential for keeping mental balance and resilience. Marcus Aurelius offered timeless wisdom here. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. However, Stoicism also promotes awareness and meditation as ways to improve oneself. These habits give us control over our feelings and thoughts, which is a key skill in the art of self. Focused, regular meditation gives you more control over your mind, so outside events have less of an effect on your inner peace. Another lesson from the Stoics is to be strong when bad things happen. We always have to deal with problems and difficulties in life. Stoicism urges us to face these difficulties head-on and to maintain our inner strength, even in the most trying circumstances. By focusing on how we personally deal with problems, we can become stronger and more resilient after going through them. Think about a sail or sailing a rough sea. The sailor can't stop the storm, but they can move their ship. This metaphor is like the Stoic idea that we should focus on our actions and emotions when things happen in life that we can't change. Resilience is a pillar in the deep path of Stoicism. This old philosophy tells us that we all have a huge amount of power inside us to deal with and overcome the problems we face in life. Think of this resilience as an inner fortress that won't give in, helping you handle life's storms with grace and strength. Remember that it's not enough to just get through the storm. You also need to learn how to dance in the rain. Stoicism puts a lot of value on virtue because it thinks it is the key to a happy life. Think of virtue as a guide that tells you what to do and how to make decisions. It's not just about having wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance. It's about incorporating these traits into your everyday life. Working on developing these traits brings you closer to your true self and helps you grow in a way that is both deep and real. The main idea behind Stoicism is to find inner peace, a calmness that isn't affected by the chaos in the outside world. By lining up your deeds with your core values, you can actually achieve this peace, which is not just a faraway dream. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." If you focus on yourself and follow the philosophy of Stoicism, you can find peace in the chaos of life you're becoming. On this path, a life of deep satisfaction and resilience is within reach with every step you take toward focusing on yourself, placing virtue first, and growing inner peace to follow the road of Stoicism. You must not only understand these ideas, but also live by them every day. Being aware, appreciating the present moment, and knowing the boundaries of our power are all things that Stoicism teaches us with courage. It teaches us to deal with problems. Take these lessons to heart and let them make our lives better, giving us a sense of inner strength and peace. Anyone looking for help navigating the challenges of modern life with grace and resilience can turn to this old but timeless philosophy for help. According to Stoicism, focusing on oneself is not just a way to treat yourself well, it's a deep way to make the world a better place. This is especially true for guys between the ages of 30 and 65. This Stoic practice, which is based on self-examination, acceptance, making goals, controlling wants and practicing thanks, can change your life and is relevant to today's busy lives. It combines old wisdom with modern problems. A big part of Stoicism is the act of looking at yourself. It means setting aside time every day to think about your actions, responses, and ideas. Important questions to ask yourself include: what did I do well today? What could I do better? Did my actions match my core values? Being self-aware every day through this practice helps you see your skills and flaws, which leads to personal growth and development. It's like what the Stoic philosopher Seneca said: we are more often scared than hurt, and we suffer more in our minds than in reality. This quote shows how important it is to look inside ourselves to get rid of unfounded fears and gain a realistic view of our experiences. Accepting the present moment is another important part of Stoicism. We can't always change the unpredictable nature of life, which is marked by its highs and lows. What we can still control, though, is how we react to these events. Being open to amor fati, or the love of one's fate, teaches us to be happy with whatever life brings us, which leads to inner peace and calm. This philosophy isn't just about accepting things as they are, it's also about actively accepting all of life's events, good and bad, as important steps on the path to personal growth. Second, it's just as important to really focus on yourself, to set goals that you can actually reach. There must be clear, attainable goals. Stoicism tells us to set goals that we can reach, like getting better at a skill or growing as a person. This method not only gives you a feeling of direction and purpose, but it also fits with the Stoic idea that we should focus on what we can control and accept what we can't. A big part of Stoic theory is how to deal with desire and repulsion. The Stoics think that a lot of our pain comes from wanting things we can't have and being afraid of things we can't avoid. By focusing on what we can control and letting go of the rest, we can free ourselves from pain and stress that aren't necessary in today's world, where outside forces are always making our wants stronger. This principle is very important because it reminds us to focus on our inner values and what really counts. Lastly, being thankful is one of the most important Stoic virtues. A more comfortable and happy life can be reached by making it a habit to be grateful for what we have, instead of dwelling on what we don't have today when people are always looking for more. This practice is especially important because wanting more can make people unhappy. Being grateful keeps us in the present and helps us enjoy all the good things we already have. Focusing on oneself as a Stoic is a complex process that includes deep self-reflection, accepting that life is unpredictable, making realistic goals, controlling wants and dislikes, and learning to be grateful. Stoic philosophy is deeply rooted in these practices, which offer ancient wisdom that is surprisingly useful in today's buoy world. They can help us live a life of satisfaction, resilience, and peaceful happiness. As the Stoics say, focusing on oneself is a life-changing act that leads to self-awareness, resilience, and a life more in line with one's core ideals. It's not just about getting somewhere on this road of self-improvement and personal growth. It's also about becoming the best version of yourself. The trip gives you happiness and a sense of meaning. The Stoic giants, who are very important in the world of Stoicism, are great examples of this trip. The way they lived and taught shows how Stoicism can have a big effect on human growth. During his time as ruler of Rome, Marcus Aurelius showed great Stoic qualities in the complicated world of kingdom government. His rule was characterized by wisdom and justice and served as a live model of self-control and virtue, focusing on personal virtue and logic. His way of life has lessons that can be used for all time in leadership and personal morality. Another important figure in Stoicism is Seneca the Younger, who is known for his deep works on ethics and human nature. You can learn how to control your mind and feelings from Epictetus, who was a slave and later became a famous Stoic philosopher. Stoic thought is based on the idea that we can only control how we respond to things that happen to us, not what happens to us. His talks are full of wisdom on how to master yourself and build inner strength. Seneca, a Roman senator, was the epitome of Stoic virtue, showing unshakable courage and honesty in the face of Julius Caesar's autocracy. His life is a living example of the strength and resilience that result from a relentless dedication to virtue and self-improvement. The useful wisdom in his writings encourages people to look at themselves. Seneca's letters and writings are not just intellectual thoughts, they are also useful guidelines for living a life of virtue and peace. We suffer more often in our imaginations than in reality. He said at one point, "This is a strong lesson to stay in the moment and focus on what we can change." Another great Stoic thinker, Musonius Rufus, said that philosophy is not just a mental exercise, but also a set of useful tools for living a good life. His lessons on self-discipline and morality show that he believes philosophy has the power to change people's lives. The lives and lessons of these great Stoics motivate us to start our own paths of self-improvement and inner peace. We can handle life's difficulties with poise and resilience by learning from their models and adopting Stoic principles, and we can grow into our best selves. As a result, his lessons show us how important it is to apply Stoic ideas to our everyday lives, turning virtue into a way of life instead of just an idea. Rufus's focus on how philosophy can be used in real life is very similar to the Stoic view that personal virtue has the power to change people. Heraclitus, who was famous for his work on ethics, and the idea of wiki ois, or the circular rings of concern, stressed how important it is to start with oneself, and then eventually include family, society, and finally all of humanity in our circle of concern. The Stoic view says that if we work on improving ourselves, we are better able to make the world a better place. This thought beautifully shows the lives of these great Stoics show how much Stoic philosophy can help people grow and be happy. We learn how to focus on ourselves, not in a selfish way, but as a way to grow in virtue and wisdom. By looking at what they did through Stoicism, we learn that taking care of our inner selves makes us better able to help others. People who follow this philosophy are encouraged to have the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This makes us better able to help others. Remember what the wise Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is what Stoicism is all about: mind control and inner strength. Strength focusing on our own growth and virtue not only makes our own lives better, but it also makes other people look up to us as examples of strength and wisdom. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you're shutting out the world. It means you're getting ready to interact with it in a more positive and helpful way. In the end, the Stoic path is about looking within to find our inner strength and virtue. This gives us the power to make a difference in the world. We can handle the ups and downs of life with a calm mind and a strong spirit if we follow the examples of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, Rufus, and Heracles, and heed the advice of Marcus Aurelius. The focus on self-focus in Stoicism is not a call to loneliness or egocentrism. Instead, it comes from a deep understanding that by taking care of your inner self, you improve your interactions with other people. Imagine that you are a calm lake when you are at peace with yourself. The stillness of your water makes it easier for other people to see their images. You can be a rock of support and understanding as a friend, partner, or family member. If you feel calm, your inner peace gives you and the people around you strength. As a Stoic, you have to commit to daily self-examination and become more self-aware. This habit of reflecting on yourself helps you make better choices in your relationships by giving you more information. And understanding Epicus, a Stoic philosopher, said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This quote really brings home the Stoic idea that being present and attentive in our relationships helps us connect better. Focusing on yourself makes it less likely that you will act without thinking and misunderstand something which can lead to guilt. You instead build a life with meaning and direction. This way of thinking really hits home in today's busy world, where we can easily forget about our inner peace, and as a result, our relationships these days, our world moves quickly. The Stoic practice of focusing on oneself helps us keep our inner peace in turn. This makes our relationships with other people stronger. It's easy to see the lesson here when we work on our inner growth. We improve our ties with others, which makes our lives better overall in its most basic form. This is what Stoicism is all about. This old philosophy has timeless wisdom for the modern soul. We will now talk about what Stoicism is all about. Stoicism is a philosophy based on 4 virtues: justice, wisdom, temperance and courage. These traits are not just ideas, they are useful tools for growing as people that can help us live a good life, focused on ourselves. The virtue of justice is at the heart of Stoicism. It's not enough to just follow moral rules. We need to know our place in the world and make a good difference according to the Stoics. Justice means being a good citizen, a responsible family member, and fair in everything you do. This virtue helps people get along with each other and gives life meaning. Think about the story of Cincinnati, an old Roman who was a great example of this virtue. He left his farm to be a leader for Rome during a crisis, but he quickly gave up power and went back to living a simple life when the crisis was over. Putting the good of everyone else ahead of his own gain was a sign of justice in his actions. In Stoicism, the second virtue, wisdom is seen as the most important. It's about figuring out what's important, making smart decisions, and comprehending how people work. Wisdom isn't just knowledge, it's also usefulness, which pushes us to think about ourselves and learn more. It's like Socrates' wisdom, who reportedly said he knew nothing. Even though he was very, very smart, his wisdom came from knowing what he didn't know and always trying to learn more. Temperance, the third virtue, is all about balance and self-control. It shows us how to control our feelings and wants so that we don't go too far and cause unbalance and pain. Having temperance is like walking a wire. It helps you stay balanced in every part of your life. Think about the story of Buddha. He learned the value of a balanced life after living a life of wealth and then a life of extreme abstinence. The final virtue, courage, is more than just being brave. It means having the resilience to face problems, moral conundrums and unknowns. There are more parts of your courage than just your body. It's about being strong in your values, even when things go wrong. This virtue is shown by the story of Nelson Mandela, who fought against racism with steadfast courage. A real example of courage is shown by his strength in the face of huge problems and his dedication to his beliefs. When you put these traits together, they make a strong foundation for focusing on yourself. We not only improve our lives, but also have a good effect on the world. When we practice wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, Stoicism tells us that focusing on ourselves isn't selfish. It's how we grow our inner values so that we can live a meaningful life. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on the present moment, which fits perfectly with the idea that you should focus on yourself and not other people. This philosophy tells us that we can't change the past or the future because they are both full of unknowns. But we have power in the moment. Life happens in a split second, but it's important to keep our attention on that. One time, imagine that your mind is a ship that is always moving. It might be floating toward the beaches of regrets from the past or going into the rough seas of fears about the future. In these situations, practicing awareness is very important. It's okay to bring your thoughts back to the present moment when they wander. Being mindful is more than just being aware. It's about putting all of your attention on the present moment. It's about enjoying in the wealth of the present moment. Whether you're doing something small or big in your life, by doing this, boring things become events full of life, which helps you enjoy the little things that make up your daily life. The Stoic mindset cultivates a sense of purpose, resilience, and inner peace. In addition to changing the way you view things, it gives you the strength to focus on yourself in a way that isn't selfish, but helps you grow and be happy. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean being alone. It means taking care of your inner world, so you can interact with the outside world better. Let us now look at the life of Zeno of Citium, who started the school of Stoicism. He lost everything after his ship sank. Instead of focusing on the things he had lost in the past, or worried about what might happen in the future, Zeno focused on the present. This is what led him to philosophy and eventually to creating Stoicism. No matter how hard things get in life, his story shows how important it is to live in the present and on your path to become your best self. You shouldn't ignore other people. Instead, you should focus on making a strong base within yourself as you work on your inner peace and resilience. You become better able to make the world a better place. Finally, let this be a lesson and piece of advice for you, the audience, as you go through life's challenges. Enjoy the present moment, because it's the only time you really have in order to live a more meaningful and satisfying life, where inner peace and resilience are your constant partners. Let this focus on the present serve as your guide. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said: confine yourself to the present. Let this simpler but deep wisdom guide you to a life of focus, peace, and satisfaction. Think about starting a day full of Stoic wisdom, a trip of introspection and self-reflection. Not only do you wake up to the light of day when the sun rises, but you also feel deeply aware and grateful. Right now is a gift and a new beginning. In this case, you're practicing the old Stoic technique of premeditatio malorum by picturing yourself thinking about the problems you might face today, not with fear, but with calm readiness. This mental practice isn't negative. Instead, it's a powerful way to prepare your mind for the unknowns of the day, which will help you stay calm when bad things happen. Your morning continues with a promise to take care of your body if you want to honor the Stoic ideals of self-care and resilience. This is your ode to a jog, the peaceful flow of yoga, or the energetic atmosphere of the gym. Keep in mind that you're not just improving your body. This practice will strengthen your mind and give you the tools you need to handle life's rough seas better. As Seneca once said, "A sound mind in a sound body." As you sit down to eat lunch, you practice temperance. This meal is more than just food. It's a time to practice being a Stoic. The virtue of temperance is something you keep in mind. When selecting your food, not only is each bite enjoyed for its taste and texture, but it's also seen as a sign of self-control and balance. You are aware of not indulging too much and instead focus on feeding your body in a healthy way. This action shows the Stoic idea of modesty and serves as a warning that any kind of excess can throw our inner balance off. As the afternoon goes on, it brings the problems that come with living. These are not just problems, they are chances to develop Stoic resilience. You can use every failure to remember yourself of the Stoic values and your commitment to growing as a person. You don't look at these problems with anger. Instead, you see them as opportunities to develop your character and strength. An attitude like this turns daily problems into lessons that teach us something, which is in line with the Stoic idea that what doesn't hurt us makes us better in the evening. It's time to think about yourself. You carefully think back on your day, looking at what you did and how you felt. Self-examination is an important part of Stoic practice, not just a habit. You're aware of the times when your acts may not have been in line with your values and can see where you can improve. The Stoic practice of always trying to get better is deeply based in this process of thought. Right now, is the time to be honest with yourself, to see your weaknesses and strengths. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look deeply into yourself. There is a source of strength that will always spring up if you will always look there." When you think about these words, you become clear and recommit to living your life according to your values as you get ready for sleep at night. You think about the idea of amor fati, which means love of fate. The good and bad things that happen to you every day are seen as necessary parts of your trip. This acceptance is not a lackadaisical giving up. It is an active taking in of what life has to offer. That night you go to sleep, feeling thankful because you know that every moment, good or bad, helps you grow. This practice is a reminder of the Stoic ideal of accepting life as it is and finding wisdom and strength in each experience. Your weekly and monthly thoughts give you a chance to look back at how well you're living up to the Stoic ideals of temperance, courage, wisdom, and justice. These are not just vague ideas, they are also step-by-step instructions for living a happy life. You set clear goals for yourself to grow, which makes your actions more in line with these ideals. This ongoing process of thinking about things and making goals shows how dedicated the Stoic is to learning new things and getting better all the time. It's a trip that not only makes your life better, but it also lets you make other people's lives better, living by the Stoic idea of being at peace with the world as the day goes on and you get deep into your work. You'll use the Stoic idea of the dichotomy of power as a guide. You have things to do, choices to make, and maybe even problems you didn't expect in this situation. You focus your energy wisely on things you can control, such as your actions, your state of mind, and your responses. Giving up control isn't the point. The point is to use your power of choice when problems come up. You remember what Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them in this way." You don't feel useless at work, but instead stay calm, logical, and aggressive. You aren't just going through the motions during the day, you are living each moment with purpose, led by quiet wisdom. This isn't an inactive way of life. It's an active one where you're always learning, changing and growing. You're not ignoring other people when you focus on yourself. Instead, you're building up your inner strength and clarity, so you can be more present, caring and effective in all the interactions you have. At the end of the day, you think about what you've done, the problems you've had and the lessons you've learned. This thought isn't just thinking about yourself. It's a serious way to improve yourself and grow as a person. In this quiet moment of thought, you consider the words of Marcus Aurelius, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who committed the injustice." Digging into the lessons of Stoic thinkers is not just a school assignment. It is an important way to gain wisdom and strengthen the Stoic attitude. Not only do we learn more about how complicated life is, but we also learn how to incorporate these ideas into our everyday lives. The Stoic road also stresses how important it is to get along with other people. It shows us that justice isn't just a nice idea, but a real way to show kindness and compassion in the things we do every day. This part of Stoicism is more than just how you act. It also means helping your community, whether it's through charity work or small acts of kindness. Stoics are urged to improve their surroundings by building relationships based on virtue and a real care for other people's well-being. When we apply Stoic ideas to our lives, it changes everything. It means making sure that our actions are in line with our ideals and that every day is a chance to work on our own growth while also making the world a better place. We can deal with the difficulties in life with resilience and composure. If we practice Stoicism every day, let's look at the story of Kay, the younger, who was a famous Stoic to show. This Kay lived a life that showed the strength and virtue of loyalty and resilience. He stuck to his beliefs even though he was under a lot of political pressure and having personal problems. This shows that true strength comes from staying true to your ideals. His life shows us how important it is to stay on our own road and not let outside events or other people's opinions change us. The story of Seneca, who was also a Stoic scholar, also has lessons that can be learned. Even though Seneca was wealthy and well-known, he stressed the value of inner wealth over material wealth. He thought that real happiness comes from inside and doesn't depend on things outside of oneself. Instead of looking for approval or satisfaction from outside sources, his lessons encourage us to look within for happiness and strength. Adopting the Stoic philosophy can help us find our way through life, especially when we concentrate on ourselves instead of other people. There are some challenges on this road, but it is also very rewarding with the wisdom of Stoicism in mind. Let's look at 6 common problems you might face and how to solve them first. There's the fear of change. It's normal to be scared of change, but remember that Stoicism teaches us to see problems as chances to learn and grow. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." As Marcus Aurelius said, welcome change as a chance to grow. But there are also pulls from outside sources like work, family, and social standards. Having these things can make it seem like a luxury to focus on yourself. But it's important to set limits and put self-care first. You can better handle these outside expectations if you take care of yourself. You know what Seneca said? We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Don't let your supposed responsibilities take away from your need to take care of yourself today. There are lots of temptations and other things that can take our attention away from self-improvement. Set aside time every day for Stoic activities as a way to deal with this. Commit to avoiding as many distractions as possible during these times. As Epicurus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. But being impatient can also get in the way. It's simple to get angry when things don't seem to be moving forward. Stoicism, on the other hand, is an ongoing process. You get closer to your goals every day that you practice. Patience is not about waiting, but being able to keep a good attitude while waiting. Marcus Aurelius told us, if you feel alone on your stern path, loneliness might set in. Self-care doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world. Though join silent groups, look for teachers, or look for people who share your mind. Seneca said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about what will happen in the future. Finally, there is emotional response. Stoicism teaches people how to control their emotions, but it's okay to feel things when things get hard. We practice being mindful and aware of ourselves. Take a moment to breathe before you respond. Epicurus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. And this is consistent with his wisdom. To sum up, following the Stoic principles of focusing on yourself is both beneficial and difficult to get past these problems. You need to be open to change, deal with outside pressures, fight desires, be patient, look for community, and keep your emotions in check. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way to find inner peace, grow as a person, and do something every day. Let the words of the Stoic masters help and support you as you face these problems. They will remember you that the way you get better is just as important as the end result. Ancient philosophy's light of wisdom shines brightly as a powerful tool for self-reflection and personal growth in order to keep going. You have to look at your life and the world around you with new eyes every day. Your health and the decisions you make can be significantly impacted by this change in your frame of mind, leading to a happier life. Differentiating power is one of the most important ideas in Stoic philosophy. This idea teaches us to tell the difference between things we can control and things we can't focus on. What you can change: your thoughts, actions, decisions, and responses. It's a simple but strong idea. These are the places where your real power lies. On the other hand, you should be aware of outside events, other people's acts and situations. You can't change, but you shouldn't let them control your inner peace. When you understand this, you can break free from the chains of needless worry and make the most important decisions in your area of influence. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This says it all. We should focus on what we can control and accept what we can't, with grace, the love of fate or amor. Fati is another important concept in Stoic philosophy. You are encouraged by this principle to accept and love everything that life brings you. Stoicism encourages a warm acceptance of life's events, seeing them as essential components of your trip through life, rather than resistance or anger in your daily life. Show amor fati by being open to both happiness and sadness. When you face problems or hurdles, tell yourself that they are not just problems, but also chances to grow and develop as a person. Every problem teaches you something, and one of the most important things you can do to become patient is to learn to value these lessons. Memento mori is a Latin saying that means remember death. This may sound sad at first, but it's really about realizing that life is short. It is a strong warning to live in line with your real ideals and to enjoy every moment by thinking about how short life is. You develop a sense of urgency that helps you focus on what really counts. This habit will help you make the most of your time, set priorities for your goals, and stay focused on your path, instead of getting sidetracked by other things in Stoic philosophy. The right to choose is just as important. The idea behind this theory is that you always have the power to choose how to react, no matter what. This thought gives you a lot of power, because it puts the responsibility for your response firmly on your shoulders in everyday life. This means that you have to keep telling yourself of this power when you face problems or failures. Think about how you can respond in a way that is in line with your beliefs and values. A simple change in your state of mind can often change how you react, leading to better and more helpful results. The idea of not caring about what happens in the outside world is another important part of Stoicism. Stoics think that things that happen in the outside world are mostly neutral. Whether we think they are good or bad, what really counts is how you handle these events. You can find inner peace and happiness with this philosophy because it frees you from being controlled by outside events. Practicing this kind of indifference means changing how you think about the things that happen in your life. When bad things happen, look at them as chances to grow and improve. As a person, changing your attitude is an important part of getting better at yourself. If you work on yourself every day, you'll become a more moral and well-rounded person. Now think about the story of a farmer who lost his horse, which his friends thought was bad, but the farmer just said, "We'll see the next day." The horse came back with a group of wild horses, and the neighbors told him how lucky he was again. The farmer said, "We'll see later." His son hurt his leg while trying to train one of the wild horses, and the other people in the neighborhood felt bad for him when war broke out and all young men were taken except for the farmer's son. The neighbors finally understood the farmer's wisdom. This story shows how Stoics think about the balance of outside events and how important it is to react calmly. You can live a more meaningful and peaceful life if you follow these recommendations. Don't forget to honor memento mori and live each day in line with your beliefs. Use your freedom of choice every time, and don't pay attention to what's going on around you. Instead, focus on how you're reacting. These habits will not only help you grow as a person, but they will also help you live a more satisfying and moral life. If you take a trip with Stoic philosophy, you'll find that it has effects that go far beyond helping you improve yourself. You'll see the world differently and experience big changes in your life because of it. Let's look at these factors that change things. Start by saying that Stoicism brings peace and calm to your inner self. You learn to be in the present and not care about the chaos going on around you, which gives you a deep sense of inner calm. When you pay more attention to your actions and decisions, instead of what other people do, life's changes don't bother you as much. Another thing that Stoic practice does is make you more self-aware. It's not just a philosophy, it's a way of life that requires you to think about yourself every day. This helps you figure out your skills and flaws. This journey of self-discovery helps you act in a way that is true to who you are and makes you more aware of your ideals and goals. Stoicism also stresses doing good things for other people. It's not just about growing as a person, it's also about living in an honest way and making a difference in the world. Stoic qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance help and encourage those around you, which has a good effect on society as a whole. Stoicism helps you be patient when bad things happen. Resilience and moral steadfastness are used to meet challenges rather than depression. With this philosophy, you can handle the hard things in life with a steady mind. Stoicism also changes the way you interact with other people. You become a more understanding and caring friend, partner, and family member as a result of the justice, kindness, and fairness lessons it teaches. People in your group will find strength in the inner peace. You work on another thing that Stoic practice does is help people make better decisions. Stoicism helps you make decisions that are in line with your core values and principles. This gives you focus and purpose as you go through life's challenges. You can make choices that are true to yourself with the help of the wisdom you gain from studying Stoic ideas. Finally, Stoicism is a way to improve yourself and be happy. Self-improvement is at the heart of this philosophy. By focused on yourself and having a good life, you can achieve deep personal growth and long-lasting happiness. You have power over your inner mind. Not outside events realize this, and you will find strength, as the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said. For many people, focusing on themselves through the view of Stoicism is like steering a ship through the vast and often rough sea of life. The development of inner peace and self-improvement are aided by this old philosophy, which is grounded in real wisdom. Engaging with and following the Stoic principles in our daily lives starts a process of change that can result in big changes in our personality. Stoicism is not a strict or fixed religion. Instead, it is a system that is easy to change and adapt to the complicated world we live in now. It promotes the ideals of self-reflection, self-awareness, and always getting better. Finding inner peace and happiness separate from the constantly changing outside world is easier with this philosophy. We can live a purposeful, patient, and peaceful life by incorporating Stoic values like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance into our daily lives. In turn, this makes our relationships stronger and our services to society bigger. Stoicism has the power to change us by making us focus on ourselves, which can lead to changes that last a lifetime. To sum up Stoicism, the great philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste time arguing about what a good man should be." This quote shows how important it is to focus on personal growth rather than seeking approval from others. By focusing on getting better, we start the process of becoming the best versions of ourselves, in addition to our own gain. This path gives others hope and courage. Focusing on oneself is an ancient Stoic practice that is even more useful in modern life, where there are many distractions and a lot of stress in the middle of chaos. It provides a safe haven of tranquility and a guide to resilience. People are not told to be selfish when they are told to focus on themselves. Instead, they are told to build a strong, good character that can handle life's difficulties and make the world a better place. When someone insulted you, did it make you feel mad, hurt, or ashamed? Sometimes you wish you could say or do something that would make them feel bad about what they did or said. No, you're not the only one. This happens to many people. Find it hard to deal with comments and put downs, especially in the world of social media and internet trolling we live in now. If I told you there was a way to deal with insults with class, grace, and wisdom, would you believe me? A way to protect your health and self-esteem while also making the person who insulted you see how stupid they were and respect you more, a method that is based on an age-old philosophy that has passed the test of time and has been used by some of the smartest and most powerful minds in history. That is how Stoicism works. Building inner strength, resilience and calmness in the face of trouble is what it does. It also gives us useful tools and methods to deal with insults and other problems that life brings our way. Now I'm going to give you 25 Stoic lessons that will help you handle insults smartly. These lessons are based on what Stoic thinkers like Seneca, Epicurus, and Marcus Aurelius said. These people had a lot of problems and insults in their lives, but they never let them get in the way of their happiness and peace of mind. By using what you've learned, you can turn any insult into a chance to learn, grow, and get better. You can also make someone who insults you instantly feel bad about what they did and say, and maybe even change how they feel about you for the better. First, let's get started. Instruction. 1. Insults don't hurt us. Let's learn from Stoicism's first and most important lesson. Insults don't hurt us. These things happen in the outside world and don't affect our real selves, which are our good and sensible minds. It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting. Said Epicurus, a once slave turned Stoic master. This means that what someone says or does to us doesn't insult us. How we think about it and respond to it does. When we let someone attack us, we give them power over our feelings and decisions. But we can take that power away by choosing not to be upset and seeing the insult for what it is, a sound or an action that doesn't mean anything. Insults were like dogs barking or flies buzzing. They're annoying but not dangerous. According to the Stoics, they only show how stupid and weak the person is who is insulting us because they are sad or nervous themselves. They don't get to our heart, which is our reason and virtue. The best way to get even with someone who has hurt you is not to become like them, wrote Marcus Aurelius, the Roman ruler and Stoic philosopher. So the next time someone insults you, remember that it doesn't matter to you. Do not let it get in the way of your happiness and peace of mind. You shouldn't let them enjoy seeing you upset or angry. Instead, keep your cool and show them that you are bigger than their stupid words and actions. That's it. For lesson 2, have fun. The second thing Stoicism tells us is that the best way to deal with insults is to laugh them off if someone insults you. Humor can take away their power and make them look stupid. Also, it can ease the stress and make you feel better. The best way to bear insults is to make fun of them, said Seneca, a Roman politician and Stoic author. The Stoics were not as serious and straight-faced as some people might think. They had a sharp and witty sense of humor that they often used to deal with insults and ridicule. Someone called Theogenes of Cop, the founder of cynicism and an influence on Stoicism, a dog. He replied, "Yes, and you are my master for you. Throw bones at me and I catch them." Someone asked the lame Epicurus how he became a philosopher. He said, the same way that you became a human being. And when someone said Marcus Aurelius was a philosopher, he said, if only it were true. So the next time someone insults you, try to find similar quotes. Say something sarcastic, funny, or a pun. Be funny and sure of yourself to show them that you don't take what they say seriously. In addition to making you feel better, this will make them feel bad about themselves. Third word, see the insult for what it is. Stoicism's third lesson is that we should see insults for what they really are. We shouldn't take it at face value. Instead, we should think about it logically and objectively. We should ask ourselves if the insult is legitimate. Is it important matters? Should we give it our attention and answer Stoics? Thought that we should only care about things that are true, important within our control, and within our control. They thought that everything else was unimportant and did not matter. Don't explain your philosophy, live it, Epicurus said. This means that when someone insults us, we shouldn't respond emotionally, but logically. We should not let our egos get in the way. Instead, we should use wisdom and logic, not protective but honest and humble. We ought to be interested and open-minded rather than outraged. It's okay to say the attack is true. We should learn from it. You should see it as a chance to get better and fix what's wrong. We should thank the person who insulted us for showing us our flaws and making us better people. People should avoid and dismiss insults that aren't true. This is not the time or energy to try to prove ourselves or protect our image. People shouldn't be able to tell us who we are or what we stand for. Only we can do that. Remember that what we do speaks louder than what we say, and that the truth will always win out. If the insult doesn't mean anything, we should just laugh it off and move on. It should not take our attention away from our ideals and goals, not what other people think or say about us, but what matters to us and what we can change. Remember that we're not here to make everyone happy. We're here to live our lives the way our nature and reason tell us to. We ought to react with kindness and wisdom. If the insult is significant, instead of getting angry or violent, we should show kindness and understanding rather than putting ourselves down to the level of the person who insulted us. We should raise them up to our level. We should ask for forgiveness instead of getting even, not hurting them, but helping them the next time someone attacks you. Think about what kind of abuse it is. Do not let it make you feel bad. Instead, let it make you feel good. Avoid getting hurt and focus on getting better. Stay positive and don't let it make you worse. Part 4. How to handle comments that are too harsh. The fourth thing that Stoicism teaches us is that we should act with courage and justice when we are subjected to extreme forms of insult, like abuse. It's not enough to just insult someone. Verbally harassment also includes physical or mental attacks that hurt our rights and sense of worth. Not something we can ignore or laugh off, but something we need to face and stop. Like some people might think the Stoics were not quiet or weak. Instead, they were active and strong, and they stood up for themselves and others. They thought it was our responsibility to stand up for justice and to protect our fellow humans. Seneca once said it is the duty of a brave man to put up with what is bad, but not with what is shameful. We shouldn't let them scare or control us. Instead, we should stand up to them and reveal them. Don't suffer alone. Get help and support. Instead, they should be reported and put on trial for their abuse. Not us Stoics also told us that we shouldn't hate or dislike the harasser, but should feel sorry for them and teach them instead of seeing them as enemies. We should see them as fellow humans who are lost and evil, not wanting them hurt, but wanting them well, not to kill them, but to change them for the better. When someone bothers you, deal with it with courage and justice. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the best way to get even is not to become like the wrongdoer. It will only make you stronger, not weaker. Stay positive and let it make you better. Be appreciative of the chance to put virtue into practice in Lesson 5. Stoicism tells us to be thankful for the chance to put virtue into practice as our fifth lesson. When someone insults us, we shouldn't think of it as bad luck, but as good luck. It is not a problem, but a way to solve it. It should not be seen as a curse, but as a good thing. The Stoics thought that everything that happens to us is either good, bad, or neutral. They said that virtue, which is having good character and actions, and vice, which is having bad character. And 1, 3, 4 actions were the only things that were good and bad, respectively. They also said that everything else was neutral, which means that it didn't affect our happiness and well-being. The Stoics also thought that everything that happens to us is part of the universe's divine plan, which is good, logical, and orderly. They said that the universe gives us what we need, not what we want, and that it tests us, not to break us, but to make us stronger. No one is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not allowed to prove himself. Said Seneca, this means that when someone insults us, we shouldn't be angry or upset, but we should thank and respect them. Not a loss, but comments that shouldn't be seen as a problem, but as a way to move forward. It's a gift, not a sentence. The only thing that counts is virtue. So we should see it as a chance to practice it by analyzing the insult logically and clearly. We should see it as a chance to practice wisdom. We should see it as a chance to be brave by standing up to the insult with courage and confidence, as a chance to be fair and kind. We should see it as a chance to practice justice. We should see it as a chance to get better at controlling our feelings and urges. Therefore, the next time someone insults you, be thankful for the chance to show virtue. Keep it from making you sad. Instead, let it make you happy. Stay positive and let it make you better. Lesson 6. Remember that you are a person among other people. The sixth thing Stoicism tells us is to always remember that we are just a person among others people. If someone insults us, we shouldn't think of ourselves as better or worse than them. Instead, we should see ourselves as linked to and equal with everyone. No matter how far away we are from the rest of the world, we should not feel alone. Instead, we should feel like we are a part of it. Stoics thought that we are all brothers and sisters with the same origin and destiny. We are all children of God with the same father and mother, and we are all rational and social animals with a common nature and a common reason when someone attacks us. We shouldn't forget or ignore that we are human and related to them. As Marcus Aurelius said, meditate often on the interconnectedness and mutual interdependence of all things in the universe. It's important not to belittle or despise the person who insulted us. Instead, we should treat them with respect and common humanity instead of pushing them away or getting into a fight. We should connect with them and work with them. Loving and helping them is better than hating and hurting them. They are human beings just like us, with their own traits and vices, joys and sorrows, hopes and fears, and strength and flaws. It is important to remember that they are a person who can make mistakes and learn from them, who can grow and change, who can be better and do better. It's important to remember that as humans, we have a job to act in a way that fits our nature and makes sense, to live in peace with others and ourselves, to work for the greater good, and to be overall good people. When someone insults you, remember that you are a person among other people. Avoid letting